As you may have read in the press, we received a proposal that was only at the discussion stage to replace a program that we lost that at one time had 120 children with temporary assistance for 40 children. We were just at the point of bringing a more formal presentation to our church council on the 4th of August, and it got onto Facebook that this was a public meeting and that anybody could come and vent their frustrations. At least that's how it came out on Facebook. Beware of social media these days. So, I looked out my window, which is right across the parking lot from the church on the 4th of August, on Monday night, and I noticed my parking lot was overflowing with cars and people as well. Normally I would be overjoyed had it been a Sunday. Monday night, at a meeting that's not supposed to have more than 15 people, I said, oh boy, here we go. These people accused us of any number of things that night and wanted a full explanation. We explained this was not a public meeting, number one. Number two, we don't even have the details ourselves, but there are certain outlines that we can share with you, and we'll listen to you even though we don't have to. This crowd was so angry they wouldn't even let each other talk, let alone us. We stayed from 7:30 till 9, and they left at that time. I found out about a week after that, after talking to the press and giving more details to the congregation and to the press, that they were unhappy with that meeting and they intended to picket my Sunday service with 300 people. Normally I'd be overjoyed to have 300 people, but pickets, not so much. So, I found out about this Thursday before that Sunday, called the police, and we set up a plan to deal with this. And I talked to the president of the Comac Community Association, who suggested that we have a public hearing to explain more details of the plan, and it seems to have worked. We only had 20 or 30 people milling about that Sunday who didn't have any signs or anything else. If you've not seen the video of that meeting on the 19th of August, there's a sheet on the table where you came in today to give you the site on Facebook, or YouTube rather, and you'll see the reasoning and the depth of hostility that we had to face at that meeting. It made clear to me several things: that this is not a good idea in Comac, that there are invisible boundary lines, and my parish is within those lines, and what we had done by even thinking about this was walk into a rattlesnake's nest. And when you walk into a rattlesnake's nest, the rattlesnake does not give a good damn about your rational explanations about how you're sorry you came into his house and you didn't mean any harm. He's interested in either putting his fangs in your leg or running away. And this topic is so white hot in Comac that that's why it's not a very good idea right now. And it doesn't mean that it's not a good idea for you and your parish. Right now I'm the joker in the deck, but there are 52 other cards in the deck, and you may be the next one. If there's one phrase or one sentence that I've said or done in the past 2 months that got our opponents more riled up and more angry than anything else, I would say that it's this phrase: Nadia es ilegal. Nadia es ilegal. Nadia es ilegal. That, of course, is the only Spanish I know, but the English translation is, no one is illegal. I take this to be self-evident in the same way that I take the Declaration of Independence to be self-evident. As Thomas Jefferson wrote, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. The discussion that we're having about immigration these days is a terrible one. They're slicing the bologna very thin. It's about time people of faith started to think of some counter-arguments to things that we hear every day. This must stop. People are not illegal. People can be undocumented, but they cannot be illegal. We used to have a word to describe people whose skin was not white. It was very common when I was growing up in the 50s. It started with N. We no longer use that word, and I would like to consign illegal to the same dustbin that we have there. I think this is necessary because if people can be illegal, then the Nazis were right. There are certain forms of human life that are subpar and do not deserve to exist. And the other thing that drives me up the wall about this term is that it's only these days applied to people of a certain immigration status, not to common criminals that we would normally think of. The children that we were proposing to house have not, by the way, entered the U.S. illegally. They crossed the border in many cases as they come in Texas, and they did not seek to avoid detention, and they did not lie about their immigration status. Therefore, they haven't broken any laws, and they were given a piece of paper with a hearing date to appear before an immigration committee, and therefore they're not undocumented. So what if you run into some people like I did in Comac who absolutely, positively will not accept that people cannot be illegal? Then I say, if that's the case, we're all illegal. Did the pilgrims, when they came to Plymouth Rock, have passports and visas from the King of England to spread deadly European disease that wiped out 90% of the natives? No, they didn't. Did they learn the local language before they got food aid? No, they didn't. Let's challenge people to get real about immigration. We're all immigrants at the end, and for all we know, the Indians might have driven out a native population when they came over the land bridge from Siberia. The world's a smaller and smaller place than it's ever been. The NAFTA treaties have had a lot of unintended consequences. It bankrupted any number of Mexican farms by making American farm products cheaper in Mexico than Mexican products, and it increased the pressure on immigration. You know, we all like the grass in the front yard to get cut, and if you're an old goat like me, you may not be as good at it as you used to be, so you hope that somebody cuts it. You'd like to go to the best restaurants with the best prices and the best food. You know, somebody has to do all this. Let's take the long view. This is a struggle every bit as large as civil rights struggle was and other struggles have been. Remember what John Kennedy said about going to the moon. We choose to go to the moon and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Remember what Martin Luther King said. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. There are many good ideas that got shot down at first proposal, and this may be one of them. We're going to have to talk about it for a long time, so let's talk with the right vocabulary. Let's remember that people who didn't own property didn't used to vote, now they can. Let's remember that people who happen to be female couldn't vote at one time, now they can. Let's remember that people whose skin was not white couldn't vote at one time, and now they can. So let's remember, change is not always bad, change can be good, and this is a change that we can all support. Thank you.